Welcome to a very spooky episode of Mighty Morphin Ranger Danger. This is a very spooky podcast where we watch an episode of the television series Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. As you may be able to tell from my incredible cold open to the show, this is our Halloween episode of Mighty Morphin Ranger Danger.
Yeah, so disappointingly, it's actually like a week and a half before Halloween right now.
That's just how the schedule falls.
Yep, but it is a Halloween episode of Power Rangers.
Yep. If you'd like, you can just hold on to this episode for a week and a bit and then watch it on Halloween.
What number is it, Matt?
It's number 54.
And what's it called?
Trick or Treat.
Sure.
So maybe if you, just hold on to it, pause it now, wait until it's 4 a.m. on Halloween night, light some candles around the house.
Is that October 31st early in the morning or November 1st?
I don't know, I'm not going to tell people what to do.
Okay, whenever you think it's the spookiest.
Yeah. Light some candles around the house. I don't know what else you can do to make it spooky.
Sure.
Put up some fake cobwebs.
Yep.
And then listen to the podcast.
Matt, did you ever dress as a Power Ranger for Halloween?
No, I did dress as a Power Ranger, but not for Halloween.
Right. Did you ever dress up for Halloween? It's not really a thing.
No, I wish I did. I know that on one Halloween night at one of my dad's places, because he moved around quite a bit.
Yeah.
He had
multiple houses.
No.
Multiple houses sequentially.
Yeah, sadly. He had a place on a river.
Right.
And it was sort of elevated, and underneath there was just like a cavity, and we turned it into like a big haunted house.
Right.
Just a lot of fake spider webs, some black sheets, glowing skulls, stuff like that. It's pretty cool. I'm Matt.
I'm Michael.
And Jeremy's back with us.
Hey guys.
And we're going to be watching Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to do this now because I forgot to do it last week.
You did.
Our website is www.rangerdangerpodcast.com.
Yep.
You can send us an email at rangerdangerpodcast@gmail.com.
Yep.
You can get us on Twitter. We're at RangerDcast.
Mm-hmm.
You can subscribe to the show on iTunes and Stitcher and YouTube.
Did you say Facebook?
And you can find us on Facebook if you want. If that's
all the places, basically.
all the places
Good
you
job.
think you'd be able to find us.
More or less.
And sometimes places you wouldn't think you'd find us. Like right behind you right now. Wow. See, spooky episode.
It's spooky, guys. So there's just one bit of kind of news that I'd like to discuss today.
Is it spooky news?
It's not really spooky news.
Oh.
And it's a couple of weeks old now, so it'll be a couple of weeks even older by the time this gets to you guys.
Yeah.
An actor in Japan by the name of Yasutomo Ihara.
Oh yeah, Yatsutomo Uhara.
Yeah, he was a Power Rangers and Kamen Rider suit actor.
Okay.
So he did lots of the kind of stunt work in the suits, that sort of stuff. He was arrested.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
No.
But he was arrested, a couple of months ago. He'd allegedly been using his stuntman skills to climb up the sides of houses or shimmy up telephone poles, break in through the second floor. Apparently, he'd stolen about $77,000 worth of stuff.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's impressive.
He
Yes.
almost deserves
So
that stuff, I think.
As far as we can tell, the story is 5 years ago, he'd injured his knee and had to retire from the stunt work.
Yeah.
And so he was short on cash
Oh.
and was breaking into $80,000 worth of people's houses.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's all those things I don't know what to say, but
No,
it's a fascinating bit of news.
turns out it teaches you some exciting skills, Power Rangers.
Yeah.
If you've ever been burgled, maybe a Power Ranger did it. David Yost has an active match.
Oh, we shouldn't accuse David Yost of anything. He'll sue us.
I don't think he'll sue us.
Yeah, he seems like a pretty nice guy.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
It might dampen your chances of getting him on the show, but... you know.
Yeah, maybe. Do we have any Halloween stories or something we could tell?
I don't.
No.
Do you, Jeremy?
Like in general?
Yeah,
Power Rangers themed would be great, but if you've got a really good one that isn't,
Or just mediocre one is fine. We don't have high standards here.
No, it's not one of those things that Australians really do, is it?
Yeah, I think
Halloween.
One of the sadder things of being Australian is we don't get too into Halloween. It's picking up more now, I feel. Very slowly it's gaining cultural traction.
In the last few years, we've had like one person come to our door.
To trick or treat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in a slightly kind of a little dodgy area.
Yep.
That's not a dodgy area, but is adjacent to some dodgy areas.
Yeah.
So, young kids probably shouldn't be walking the streets alone at night just in case.
Yeah.
But,
I've got a question for you.
sure.
What do you think would have to happen to make Power Rangers a scary show? What tweaks would you make?
To make it a scary show.
Yeah.
Like a Mighty Morphin, like a scary episode, or to make it a continually scary show?
Let's say a continually scary show. They decided that the kids' action genre wasn't working out for them, and they were going to skew into the bizarrely popular world of
Okay.
horror programming.
Right. I think there's an issue with the part where they get a giant robot and destroy the monster.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think, that's definitely... Because that's a genre thing, and to make it a horror...
I think too, because the horror genre plays a lot on power themes, and
Yep.
it's important that the protagonists don't have a lot of power.
Yes.
And there's nothing more powerful than having a giant robot.
Yeah.
So that kind of kills it.
I think Rita Repulsa herself is kind of a horror figure.
Or she could be quite easily.
Yeah, I mean, whenever we've seen her do real magic,
Proper black magic.
like chanting and skulls with glowing eyes and stuff, it's been pretty scary
Well, yeah.
as far as like
Kids show goes.
kids show goes.
Yeah.
I think so stepping that up would certainly help.
So if you like stripped away the Megazord,
Yep.
Yeah.
and it's about a group of 5 teens that are
Maliciously targeted by an evil witch.
evil witch. They've
who
got some
does
sort of
happen to live on the moon.
Yep, they've got some sort of curse on them or something, and they're forever attacked by this witch who can summon evil monsters.
Yeah, and only their like exceptional training is what they can use to drive off these monsters.
Yeah, and they can never defeat them. They can just keep them at bay, and
Yeah.
they're forever around any corner.
Yep.
And the putties especially, like...
Yeah, that'd be pretty freaky.
If you showed them in the shadow,
Yeah.
so you
Yep.
couldn't see the zippers on the suits.
Yeah.
And maybe without the little like turkey noises, like you'd probably.
I think that could be creepy in the right context,
it can
though.
be creepy in the right context, but if
Walking
they didn't
through the
say
park at
anything,
night
Yeah.
alone,
like if
there's
they didn't
one
say
light off in the
anything, and they were just kind of like doing their like dancey thing, like
Yeah.
I would find that pretty creepy.
Maybe, like, the putties, if they touch you, you become a putty. So it's like a plague as well. That'd be pretty creepy.
I'm imagining the transformation sequence would be horrifying.
Yeah, your like mouth seals
Slowly
up, and then you
seals up.
slowly turn grey, and your limbs start like jiggling
Okay,
around.
Well, I'm not going to sleep tonight, so that's a great place to leave that. I guess let's go watch Trick or Treat.
Yeah, let's see if it
What
lives up
sort
to
of
our...
monster do you reckon it is?
We'll probably get Frankenstein back. That'd be shitty. Because he was the last Halloween one, wasn't he, really?
I don't even know if that was a Halloween
I think
episode.
it was. Yeah.
maybe like a pumpkin, like
Oh, giant
themed-
pumpkin. That would be fantastic.
themed baddie,
Okay, yeah, if it's not a giant pumpkin, I'm going to be quite disappointed.
throwing its guts at you.
I would also like to point out this episode aired in May,
Oh, okay.
so yeah.
They fudged it even more than we did on the scheduling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Although,
fine.
is Halloween a different time of year for Americans? Okay, never mind.
No. No.
Strip that from the record.
Alright, so we're going to go watch that.
Yep.
And we'll be back to tell you about the lack of giant pumpkin in just a moment.
Perfect.
That was the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
I certainly wouldn't go that far.
Oh,
but
man.
I've never seen you enjoy something so much in your life. That's true. I've known you for a while. I've never seen you that.
Oh,
That
was
ecstatic.
beautiful. That was beyond my wildest expectations for this show. Will we go from the top?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
All right. Since Michael's like to overcome with joy, I'll have to do a quick recap for you. Kim, the episode starts off with Kim doing some gymnastics, flipping around a bit, which is cool because you don't get to see that as much as you think. I think because you see it in the opening credits every week.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she always does gymnastics, but she kind of doesn't. And Tommy and someone, Trini, are standing by watching. And when Kim is finished, she reveals to them both that she's going to be on a game show called Trick or Treat.
Yep.
Which Tommy says, isn't that like the most popular game show in America? Now, a few issues there. If it was, then you wouldn't be asking, isn't it like the most popular? Because it,
you would know.
I'm going to be on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yeah.
Lots of people watch that, right?
yeah. And the other thing is that once we actually get to see the show...
No, it's being shot for a budget of about 30 cents.
That's right.
I love it.
It's,
I mean, look, let me put it this way. The show on Power Rangers has to be produced within a small subset of Power Rangers' budget.
Yeah.
Right? So this show looks even lower budget than the show you're watching.
And
Yeah.
who selects these contestants? They all both come from the same town in America. Like, if it's the most popular show in America.
I can see it being the most popular game show on community television in Angel Grove, maybe.
And even then, I feel like there'd be some stiff competition.
Yeah. So yeah, that happens.
Now, Tommy can't go to the taping, Matt.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has a karate competition.
It's next Saturday.
Yeah.
And he's got a big inner city karate tournament that he just can't miss.
He can't miss it.
Even to support his maybe girlfriend, maybe?
She says she understands, but we all know that she really doesn't.
She looks pretty cut.
Yeah.
Skull walks into the room with Bulk and reveals that he is actually the contestant that she'll be going up against in Trick or Treat. And he goes to take Kimberly's hand, and she pulls him into something like a dip that's on the table.
Guacamole?
Like a guacamole.
Like really runny guacamole?
Yeah, I don't know what it was, because it was like...
It was bright green.
It was bright, but didn't have any sort of other things in it. So it didn't look like guacamole, because guacamole usually has a bit of different stuff. So, I don't know, there's just a bowl of green goop on the table.
You know, for Skull to end up in.
And yeah, he gets pulled into it.
Yep.
And that's that.
Yeah. So, Rita is creating...
Yeah.
Well, she's had an idea. The pumpkin wrapper monster.
Yeah.
He will grow from some rotten pumpkin seeds that need to be planted in the ground.
Yeah.
Which Squad and Babu have already done.
Yeah. It's a really weird order, because Rita says, oh, I have an idea. Goldar says, oh, I'm having the same idea. We'll make a pumpkin monster. Rita says, that's a good idea. You guys, like Squat and Babu, you go plant seeds. And they say, we've already done it.
Yeah.
So the only thing I can figure is that there's, like, Goldar and Rita are so stupid that they've already had the conversation, completely forgotten about it, had it again.
Or, okay, hear me out. Goldar had the idea last week.
Yeah.
Right? Then he wanted to, like, surprise Rita with the pumpkin wrapper monster ready, right?
Yeah.
But then when Rita says, I've had an idea, he can't go, yeah, we've already on it, because that'd be like insubordination, right?
Yeah.
He can't risk it. So he just has to go, yeah, I just had the same idea as well.
And the idea is this.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, by the way, if you're imagining the pumpkin wrapper monster, yes.
That's what it is.
Yep. And it is a thing of beauty, but we'll get to him.
Yeah.
So we're watching the Trick or Treat show.
The filming of the episode.
Yep. And we hear Bulk say to Skull, if you want to win, you have to cheat.
Yeah.
Classic.
Which is true, because Skull's an idiot.
Hold on. Oh, okay. He has to, not just as a general life rule.
No.
Okay.
I'd never support that.
I was worried we were giving a bad life lesson to our listeners.
Yeah, no. If you're Skull, you have to cheat.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So the show is Halloween themed.
Yeah.
The host dresses as like a Bela Lugosi vampire.
Yeah. He's the hammiest dude.
Yeah.
Is this a Halloween themed game show that airs like
Around
Monday nights every week during the year? Like, is it for 1 or 2 weeks in the year it's appropriately themed?
Who knows?
Because, you know, there's a tradition in America of like local cable access, like late night horror TV hosts.
Yeah.
Who would dress up as like a vampire and present, you know, whatever cheap horror movie they could get their hands on.
Yeah.
But it's the most popular game show in America.
Obviously, it's because it's called Trick or Treat, and the way that he reacts when he's actually tricked is so entertaining. Because, like, did you know?
Yeah, he gets really upset.
He gets really upset every time he gets tricked.
So, okay, let's say the rules are you ask the host trick questions.
Yeah.
If you trick him, you get pumpkin points.
Yeah.
Whoever has the most pumpkin points at the end wins the prize.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he does not take being tricked well.
No. Not only that, his definition of trick questions is very ambiguous.
It's like he's Gollum in The Hobbit.
Yeah.
What have I got in my pockets? Yeah, that's a trick question. Great trick question. It's just a very hard question.
Yeah. Like Kim asks him, "What are the identities of the Power Rangers?"
That's just a very hard question.
It is.
It's not a trick.
Yeah,
Like,
you could be like, "What's the atomic structure of a leaf?" You know,
They must be handing these cows away every single week because this guy, it's not that hard to trick him.
In my head, this guy was like a late night horror host.
Yeah.
And he got a bit of a cult following. And the network decided they'd give him a game show.
Yeah.
But like in his contract, he demanded that he had to be allowed to wear his vampire makeup all the time.
because that's his shtick.
Yeah, because that's his thing. Otherwise, people won't recognize him.
Yeah.
But they came up with the format.
Yeah.
So they're like, what if you have to trick him? And he just hates it. He hates being on it. He wishes he could just do his little, like, no-work show.
Because he hates being wrong.
Yeah.
He's that guy that does not like to be wrong about everything. So he's on this show where every week he gets, like, shamed.
Mocked by high school children.
Yeah.
Is this the first mention of Kimberly and Skull's full names?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I've heard Skulls before. By, like, a teacher in detention
We
or something.
certainly could have.
I'm pretty sure he's been called Eugene before. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as we knew, from the beginning of the episode, the taping of this show was next Saturday.
Yeah.
So it's been at least a couple of days, maybe a week.
Yeah.
Which we can also see because there's some rotten pumpkins growing in Angel Grove Park. You know they're rotten because Tommy walks past them and says, "I wonder where all these rotten pumpkins came from."
These kids really need to win this car because they keep on like walking places and stumbling across things.
They walk
like,
through the park and get attacked every time. What are the putties going to do if they start driving places? They'll be fucked.
Putties in just a van.
just like in like motorbikes, like running up a sudden.
Dirt bikes, that'd be amazing. Dirt bike putties.
Okay, so we're back at the game show, and Kimberly asks if he can tell her the identity of the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Again, not a trick question.
Good one, Kim.
So she can win more points now.
Yeah.
By playing their Wicked Wheel of Misfortune.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, guys, you've already used that joke.
Yes.
In an episode where the monster was literally a spinning wheel that you called the Wheel of Misfortune.
Yes.
And the episode was called The Wheel of Misfortune. And it was like 20 episodes ago. So, come up with a new joke. Second, she basically just gets tied to a giant wheel that spins.
Yeah, I don't
It
understand
doesn't
what the
appear to be
challenge is there.
Yeah.
I guess the challenge is like not throw up or something, but it's the sort of thing that you would put like a person on and spin them, and then another person have to throw knives at them or something.
Yeah, I was very worried that was what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But then, how would she get points for that? Like,
By surviving.
yeah.
So anyway, Tommy has found all these rotten pumpkins, and he messages Zordon, and he says, "I think Rita's up to her old tricks."
Yeah, this is just after he gets attacked by putties.
Oh, sorry, he does
And
fight some putties.
He fights them to the tune of Go Green Ranger Go.
Yep.
I think this is the first episode where we get Go Green Ranger Go, combat, and I will win all in one
it's
episode.
pretty good,
It's
music-wise.
It's cool.
It's excellent music-wise, actually.
We'll get to that.
Oh, yeah.
There's a scene where, in fighting the putties, Tommy does about 6 jumping kicks in a row.
Knocking a putty further and further.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
It is pretty. He's a pretty fit dude.
Yeah.
They're all quite impressive as martial artists and
Yeah.
gymnasts.
Yeah.
And it's nice when the show
Shows
goes to
that
the
off.
effort to show it off.
Yeah.
So Tommy says to Zordon, "I think Rita's up to her old tricks. First of all, you just fought her foot soldiers. She's definitely involved."
Yeah, there's no question there.
And then Zordon says, "You're correct, Tommy, but just go to your karate match.
Don't worry about it.
Like, how bad could it be? They're just pumpkins."
And if Zordon knew about this, where was the call, Zordon? Like,
Yeah.
let us know there's something going down.
Hey, there's some pumpkins. I don't know what's going on, but Rita's definitely involved. There could have been some sort of advanced warning.
No.
So, we get some more shots of Kimberly on the game show.
Yep.
Intercut.
Intercut.
Yep.
That's weird that we said
That
that.
was weird, yeah.
Intercut with footage of Tommy at the karate tournament, and just cuts back and forth about 3 times.
But it's not Tommy competing at the karate tournament.
Just him watching.
It's just Tommy watching like an Asian dude do some karate.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, he's quite good at it. He's got like nunchucks or something, and he's spinning them around. But it seems unnecessary.
Yeah.
So anyway, the pumpkins are starting to hatch or sprout or whatever it is that pumpkins do. So Zordon says to Alpha, "You must contact the Power Rangers immediately." And Kimberly's on her last question to win the card.
Oh, we skipped Bulk doing his challenge.
Oh, Skull.
Skull doing his challenge, which is a big spider web.
Yeah.
And just
I blocked that out of my memory.
Zach says as Skull's approaching the web with bugs on it, "Yuck, bugs."
Yeah.
Which is
again
a nice bit of character continuity because
it's basically the only bit of characterization aside from like their core stereotypes that any of them have got.
Yep. So yeah, that's nice. Zach still doesn't like bugs, and what it is Skull has to climb up this like rope web and pull down some plastic bugs in 10 seconds. It seemed excessively easy, but there's like a plastic spider that swings down at one point and spews white goop in your face as you're trying to do it. I don't properly understand, again, what the challenge is or how Skull manages to fail.
It sounds like he has to get 3 bugs in 10 seconds, but avoid the spider.
Oh, so if you get hit by the spider, you lose.
You lose.
All right.
Or if you don't get 3 bugs.
Yeah, so he loses because he gets a big pile of goop in his face.
Of course he does.
Of course he does.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's pretty much
So,
it.
Alpha's watching in the command center when they get an alarm that pumpkins are happening. So Alpha says...
The worst kind of alarm.
Just when Kimberly was about to win, "Oh, well, I guess that's showbiz." Which, for a robot who's been trapped in, like, a desert command center... He must watch a lot of daytime television.
I think that's all he does. Yeah.
Alpha was an extra in Star Wars. That's what it was. He was just like, it's my life.
He was going to be R2-D2. But a monster came down when he was about to win. And he was about to get involved. So they had to find like a short guy and put him in the thing.
Crushed his dreams. He's been bitter at show business ever since.
So Kimberly fake faints.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty good move. It's not as good as Zach's magic disappearing from last week.
No.
But to get her out of that situation, she doesn't just run off.
Yeah.
She fake faints, disappears into the fog that covers the floor of this set, then briefly sits up and does a really obvious wink so the Power Rangers know that it was a fake faint.
But she's okay. Don't worry, guys. Yeah.
So they carry her off. They teleport to fight some pumpkins.
But they teleport to the command center first.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
And this is the first time we get a really good shot of what all the Rangers are wearing.
Yeah, they're all in... everyone on the show is in costume.
Yeah.
I don't know that we mentioned.
Now, everyone except for Trini is in basically Ren Fair outfit.
Yeah.
They look like...
Big hats and, like, Lord gear in their appropriate colours, of course.
Yeah, of course. But Trini is basically dressed up like... What's-her-face from Aladdin?
Yeah, Jasmine.
Princess Jasmine.
Like, I Dream a Genie.
Yeah, she's wearing like a strangely, like stereotypically Arabic costume.
Yeah.
It's all like, it's just odd.
Why is she not dressed as... Maybe there couldn't be 2 princesses.
Yeah. It seems like they're being racist, but they even fuck that up.
Oh no, she's Asian. She has to wear something like foreign and exotic.
Yeah.
That's... The Arabs, they're close enough, right?
Yeah. Just, rounds to the nearest Asian continent. It's odd.
Yeah.
So they have to morph and go and fight.
I'd like to say, sorry, Bulk and Skull are pretty convinced that they've won the car because Kimberly fainted.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how it would work.
Except that does seem to be how it works because they end up getting the car. But it's weird,
They gave him like car.
There's no like medical guy on the set in case someone faints or they just can go.
Yeah. I don't know. It's strange. In the command center, it's the first time Zordon describes this creature and what he does. At which point, I think Michael had an extreme, almost biological reaction.
Guys, he will try to distract you with his clever raps and rhymes. Also, there's the pumpkins will attach to your head so you can't see or breathe. I feel like one of those is more concerning than the other one.
Yeah, maybe lead with the breathe.
Yeah. If you can't breathe, sight is not as big a concern.
Yeah.
Zack says it's just a bunch of pumpkins, and Zordon says, "No, Zack, it's Rita's evil doings."
Oh boy! All right, so they teleport down to this pumpkin patch.
Yep.
And they just notice a bunch of pumpkins on the ground.
So yeah, they go to explore.
Yep.
Kimberly goes off to another bush somewhere.
Yeah.
They all, despite knowing that the pumpkins can attach to their heads, pick up the pumpkins and put them to their heads.
It seems like what happened was the writers saw this footage,
Yep.
and then so that happened. We'll get Zordon to explain that to them first. I don't think the Japanese people intended that the Rangers would already know.
No, because it's an incredibly stupid thing to do if you know that that's their power.
Yeah, to pick it up and put it near your head.
Yeah, it'd be like, oh, this explodes when you put it next to your ear. Gee, I wonder what this will do.
Yeah.
No. So the four of them except Kimberly get pumpkins on their heads, and we're treated to like 30 seconds of them trying to pull the pumpkins off their heads.
The pumpkins have faces too, so it's hilarious.
It's amazing.
It's comedy gold. Billy ends up getting like one of his legs up on Jason's shoulder.
Head.
Yeah.
Trying to pull him.
Yeah, there's one bit where Billy's sitting down and Jason's like trying to lift it off.
Yeah.
It's great. So Kimberly comes back and just like cuts them off with her power sword. And
Her blade blaster.
her blade blaster sword.
Yeah.
And then it gets better.
Yeah.
Because now there's putties with pumpkin heads.
Buddies.
I'm so happy. Oh man.
It's a cool visual having parties of pumpkins on
It's
their
a
heads.
perfectly standard putty fight.
Yeah.
But the presence of the pumpkin heads just
Elevates it.
makes them feel special.
Yeah.
Oh.
And eventually they realise they're not really getting anywhere because there's more pumpkins keep popping up.
But look over there.
There's
It's a giant pumpkin.
There's a bigger pumpkin.
And it's very large. It's like half the size of a person.
Yeah. So that they flip over to it.
I love that part.
Yeah. And they're about to destroy it because they realise if they destroy it now, they'll save themselves a lot of trouble. But rather than just destroying it, they take the time to do like a group rhyme about it. They each do a line of the rhyme, which, like, in universe, I'm kind of impressed with their improv skills.
Yeah, that's great.
Because they pull off...
I've tried to rhyme on this show spontaneously, and that stuff is hard.
It is hard. Can you remember... Anyone remember what they said?
No.
No. It was just a bad rhyme about defeating a pumpkin. Unfortunately, their hubris is their undoing, because in the time they're rapping-ish, it... leaps out of the way, this giant pumpkin, and turns into the pumpkin monster, pumpkin rapper.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy. My note is, and apologies for the swearing, holy fuck, he raps. He gets his own backing music.
Yeah. Whenever he has to rap, the rock music cuts out.
Yeah.
And then it changes to like
a rap beat.
Yeah. royalty-free rap beat.
I found a video on YouTube of it.
Excellent.
So I will definitely link to that in the show notes, because if you can't watch this episode, you have to experience this.
Yeah. You know, his rhymes aren't bad.
No, he's got sick flow.
I was just about to say
we are way too white to be talking about rap.
Yeah.
It's oh man, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, I want to talk about it more, but there's not much to say.
No,
other than it's a good time.
You have to experience it to really... I'm not sure I believe that I saw it. And this is in this show that you've been there for the last 54 episodes. You know what we've seen. I don't know that I actually just saw that.
I don't... what does rapping have to do with pumpkins?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing
It's got the vines, and so it wraps the vines and raps while it wraps you with the vines.
That's true. I didn't really put that
That would
together.
make a lot of sense.
Good work. Yeah. Jeremy's cracked the Da Vinci Code.
I'd just like to say that he should have been called the Pumpkin.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
But then he wouldn't have had rapper in his name, and he wouldn't have been able to rap. So
we don't want that.
No, we don't want that.
I just think there should have been like some kind of epilogue where Tommy's like looking at his life choices and the fact that he had to give up his karate tournament to save the Power Rangers from this rapping pumpkin.
So that's what happens next. Is they fight the pumpkin rapper, but he kind of
Pumpkin wraps them up into vines.
He takes down their weapons with his vine while rapping.
Yeah.
And then he wraps them all up, and they're, pretty incapacitated.
Because he could also shoot lightning through his vines.
Yeah.
Because of course he can.
So, like all rappers can, man.
Yeah.
You've never seen 50 Cent just shoot some
Just dropping
lightning?
the
So they need to call Tommy.
Yeah.
Right? Literally, they call him as he is being called to compete.
Yeah.
Rita has an excellent sense of dramatic timing.
She does.
Because she's fucked up 2 people's plans in one day.
Yeah.
With like a week's preparation.
If only she was more successful at literally anything she did, she would do well for herself.
Yeah. So instead of Tommy trying to explain that he's like got an urgent call from his family and there's a medical emergency, or
I think at a certain point you just give up on that because you only have so many excuses.
he just walks to the front, hears the beeping of his communicator, and just walks straight out.
Yeah. I like that he doesn't agonise over it though. It's kind of a cool character moment where he's like, "All right, that's how it is. Got to go save the day."
Yep. So Tommy comes down, he saves the Rangers
by using his dragon dagger to cut the vines.
Yep. He charges the pumpkin wrapper.
He just straight up runs with it. It's pretty badass. He
tells them to get their weapons ready, but not really what he's going to do or what they should do.
He does say, "I'm going to charge it."
Sure, but he doesn't say, "I'm going to charge it, grapple it, hold it in position, and then shoot it."
Yeah.
He just if he said, "I'm going to charge it," well, I'll step back then.
Yeah.
So anyway, he charges it, grapples it, holds it in position. Yeah. They summon their power blaster.
I can't remember what it's
the
called.
one that's all their 5 individual weapons.
Yeah.
Tommy says, "Hasta la pumpkin," which I'm pretty sure is Spanish for "until the pumpkin."
Which makes a certain amount of sense in an abstract way when you think about it.
Yeah.
He does hold the pumpkin until the pumpkin, and then after that there's no more pumpkin. So...
Oh, that's wrinkling my brain. So they shoot him with the blaster.
Yep.
And that's it.
He blows up, although it's one of the worst effects we've seen of this type, because you see a superimposed explosion rather than one that's actually on the set.
Yep.
And you can see the guys laying down below the explosion. Yep. So he clearly doesn't get destroyed like a monster should.
No Megazord fight?
No Megazord fight.
Interesting choice.
Yeah.
I guess they chose to spend their time on Trick or Treat the game show instead.
Yeah, wise choice. Thanks, guys.
And that karate guy.
Yeah, there's a good 30 seconds to a minute of some completely unrelated character just almost dancing by himself with some sticks.
I wonder if maybe this didn't come with a Megazord fight for some reason, and so they had to pad it around it.
It almost seems like they got the Megazord footage and couldn't use it for some reason, so they had to have the monster destroyed in the park, which is why they did a bad, because usually a monster destroyed explosion in Japanese footage looks great.
Yeah.
Whereas
that's certainly possible.
A good point.
So yeah, I think they got the Megazord footage in this doesn't work for whatever reason. We're gonna have to pad the episode out, superimpose an explosion when he gets hit by the beam,
and then that's it. Job done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed we didn't get a Megazord fight.
Yeah.
But the joy of the pumpkin wrapper is too much that it's evened it out.
Yeah.
So Tommy and Kimberly are outside the juice bar.
Yep.
And, they're both apologising kind of generally for just the troubles of being a Power Ranger.
Yep.
Getting called away from their stuff. Bulk and Skull pull up in what's quite a nice car.
For the time, sure.
It's like a red sports car.
Yeah, roofless convertible.
Yep. Quite nice. They're, bragging for a bit. Up until a lady from Network Standards and Practices comes up. And have you ever cheered for them to be the good guys?
Yeah.
You will this week. Because they reviewed the tapes and Bulk and Skull were cheating. Yep. I don't know that we mentioned, Bulk mouthed a question to Skull.
Yeah.
Which seemed like unnecessary cheating as well.
I don't think Skull was going to be able to functionally speak by himself, so probably necessary.
Are you guys aware of the game show cheating scandals that happened in America during, I think it was, I want to say the 80s?
No.
Well, there was this game called, I'm going to say it was called Press Your Luck, but I'm actually looking it up now so I can speak with some degree of knowledge.
Authority.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so it was a show called 21.
Yep.
And basically he was in the middle of a winning streak.
A contestant.
Yeah,
Yep.
a contestant was. And basically they arranged for the competition to end in like 3 ties in a row.
Yep.
So that people would be all there and paying attention and like, you know, what's going to happen? There's 3 ties in a row. Who's going to win?
Yep.
And they were like rigging it, and I think they paid someone off to lose to throw the match.
Right.
And so after the guy who lost, he kind of went public and said,
Because of course he did.
they told me to lose. And then there was some evidence, a notebook containing answers was found from another game show. It was apparently endemic during the late 50s that all these game shows were just rigged because you wanted to create exciting television more than you cared about it. So the ratings plummeted for the show after the cheating came out. Congress met to discuss it.
Oh shit!
Like the president called it, who was Eisenhower at the time, called it a terrible thing to do to the American people. Like, it was considered a travesty.
You could imagine being the producer responsible for that. The president who just said you've shamed America.
Yep. Well, people lost their jobs in the TV industry.
Yep.
Like
that's fair. That should happen. Yeah.
It was, it was pretty rough. And I think there was legislation passed that led to the standards and practices bodies that kind of created rules for game shows about how stuff was done to ensure that there wasn't any cheating. So, 40 years later, of course, Bulk and Skull couldn't cheat because that would just be unacceptable. I'll put a link. It's actually really fascinating reading. I'll put a link in the show notes.
Right. So that's Mighty Morphin Game Show History Ninja.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was today's segment after last week's romance segment.
Well,
we're multifaceted individuals.
I've got to tell you guys, if there's any moral that I've gotten from this story, it's to never mess with ladies who represent the network standards and practices, because she just appeared out of nowhere like some kind of Santa angel, all-knowing, all-seeing, knew where Bulk and Skull will be driving their car, demanded it back, and then just drove off.
And she rocks up with a briefcase.
Yep.
And just
to file papers or something.
I don't know. And then she just kicks him out of the car and drives off with it. Yeah. Imagine, she's not from network. She's just this woman on the street.
The way it's shot, I almost thought that was going to happen. Yeah. But then it would make no sense and be like a bizarre thing to happen.
It was so good. But this woman just walking down the street, she watched the show. She happened to see the mouthing. Yeah. And she's like, yes, I'm from network standards and practices. You've cheated, so you have to give me the car. And they're like, what? You have to be caught out. And it just drives off with his brand new car. That'd be amazing.
And Bulk is just as a mummy and he gets caught in the door and unravels.
End of episode.
He's still dressed as a mummy? How long did it take them to review that footage for the standards and practices?
They're pretty...
Did he not change?
They're very efficient. So that's the end of the episode. Matt, we have to place the pumpkin wrapper somehow on our Ranger Danger Creature feature. And I'm putting in a request that he go to the top 10.
Yeah, I think top 10's fine. I think the fact that we didn't get to see him as a giant monster was a little disappointing.
Yeah. So, okay, number 10 is Rita.
Yeah.
Is he cooler than Rita?
Yeah, absolutely. Shit,
is he cooler than Bones, who could come apart and reform?
Oh... That's I really like Bones, but rapping's pretty rad.
All right, well, next after Bones is Snizzard, and I think we can agree that he doesn't have the Bryan Cranston factor that just gives Snizzard the edge.
Yeah, I'd be happy with him going just below Bones and pushing Rita out of the top 10.
Okay.
Is that be something you're happy with?
That sounds entirely correct for me.
Okay, so he's just cracked the top 10 with his rapping skills, his mad flow.
And if he ever reappears, and I don't want to get my hopes up, but in my heart of hearts, he will instantly go to number 1 as far as I'm concerned.
That's a pretty stacked top 10. We've got some pretty great monsters on top 10.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Rapping Pumpkin is only number 10.
Yeah. Do you want to give us like just a rundown of the top 10 as it stands?
Sure. So, do you want to go from 10 down?
Yep.
All right. Rapping Pumpkin.
Yep.
Bones.
Bones, yep.
Snizzard.
Yep.
The Super Putties, who had that cool claymation sequence.
Yep, that's pretty cool.
Eye Guy.
Yep.
Oh, I love that one.
Terror Toad.
Yep.
From Power Ranger Punks.
Yep.
Pudgy Pig, who we all know and love.
Maybe my favourite monster.
You've forgotten Shell Shock.
Ah, I fucking love Shell Shock. Okay, Pudgy Pig and Shell Shock. Yep.
Then Tommy,
Yep.
who is, the most effective villain the show has ever had.
Yep.
And Squat.
Yep. Because he's a Splinter Cell.
Yes.
Yep. Cool. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Have you had a good time, Jeremy?
Yeah, it's been rad.
I'm
Alright.
glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. Next Saturday,
Yep.
we'll be putting up the second of our podcast episodes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I know we said we'd put it after the other Canberra ones, but we recorded a couple less than we were going to do in Canberra, and then it was the anniversary. So we'll put it up this weekend.
Yep.
And that's us talking about Power Rangers Hexagon,
Yes.
which is, if you don't know what that is, you got a couple
You'll find
of
out.
days.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So we'll be back, and then obviously next week
Yeah.
with an episode called Second Chance.
Cool.
We'll
That
have
could be anything.
2 new guests for you. Oh, one,
Yes.
maybe 2. We'll find out.
Who are we getting?
Let's make it a surprise.
Okay. Cool. You don't know, is that what you're
Oh
saying?
no, I know, but
Okay.
you don't know them. So if I tell you that Jesse's coming and Megan might come,
Right.
that's not gonna mean anything to you.
All right. Fair enough.
So that's who's going to be on next week, hopefully.
Yep.
Anything else? Where can they find us? Did you tell them that?
I
already?
did. We've done
Okay.
that. That's fine.
All right. Thank you all for being there.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Ooh, you Rangers make me mad. Waking me up with a rap back